over a spectacular fighter. I told y'all from the beginning, man, that I got skills to beat up.
The boxing world has been turned upside down as the New York State Athletic Commission made the shocking decision to overturn the result of the Gervonta Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach fight. Fans who had been calling it a robbery from the moment the judges announced their decision finally got what they had been screaming for. The CompuBox numbers had already exposed the truth. Roach had outlanded Davis in total punches and jabs, making it clear just how much the original decision had protected Tank. The outrage that had been simmering since the fight erupted into full-blown celebration for Roach's supporters, while Davis's fans were left scrambling for explanations. For Davis, the consequences are massive. WHBHA President Gilberto Mendoza had already made it known that a rematch was in the works, but with the commission stepping in and officially erasing Davis' win, he is no longer the undefeated star he once was. The perfect record he held for years is gone. The aura of invincibility that had surrounded him shattered. What was supposed to be a routine title defense has now become a desperate attempt at damage control. Davis, who had been teasing a rematch in May, is now being forced into one under completely different circumstances.
The commission is reviewing the results of the fight, and it's based on that knockdown, which is extremely important, because if that is...
His fans, who had once claimed he was the face of boxing, were now struggling to defend him. But before anyone else could even make excuses for him, Tank made one of his own, and it might just go down as one of the wildest excuses in boxing history. Standing in the center of the Barclays Center, surrounded by an audience still in shock over the overturned decision, Davis blamed his own hairstylist for his struggles in the ring. He claimed that the stylist had used too much hair grease, which ran into his eyes during the fight and affected his vision. "She put grease in my hair, so when I was sweating, it ran down into my face. It burned my eyes," Davis told the crowd, trying to explain why he looked off during the fight. Instead of sympathy, the arena erupted in boos. He doubled down, pointing at his head, saying, "Look at my hair. I just got it done. But it's all cool, man." They love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. The boxing world didn't just reject the excuse, they dragged him for it. Within minutes, social media was flooded with memes, jokes, and videos clowning Davis for blaming hair grease instead of admitting that Roach had outboxed him. Fans flooded Twitter and Instagram with pictures of hair products, tagging Tank and joking that Roach's real strategy wasn't skill, it was a bottle of hair oil. But it wasn't just fans getting in on the roast session. Even Tank's own hairstylist, known as Leap, the brand on Instagram, fired back immediately.
I thought I should have won without that being counted a knockdown. Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he had to wipe sweat out his eye, he had to wipe sweat out his eye. But the rules do state, if you...
I did his hair on Wednesday. It's Saturday. He did press conferences and weigh-ins. Now he's blaming me, the stylist wrote in an Instagram post, clearly annoyed by the excuse. They even posted receipts, including pictures from their salon, proving there was no excess grease in his hair. That's no excuse. How much grease did I even us? They added, shutting down Tank's claims. Fans quickly rallied behind the stylist, pointing out that if Davis was grasping at something as ridiculous as hair grease, then he had way bigger problems to worry about. Some even compared it to other infamous boxing excuses, like when fighters blamed their ring walk outfits for slowing them down.
And that's an automatic. But it is what it is. I wasn't relying on that. I was relying on what I was doing in there. I think I was...
But this was on another level. This was no longer about just an excuse. This was about a fighter who was supposed to be untouchable getting exposed in a way that no one saw coming. The overturned result has completely changed how people see Davis. For years, he had been the guy that boxing would never let lose, the knockout artist who was always given the benefit of the doubt. He was the fighter that promoters, networks, and officials protected because he was a superstar. Now, that protection is gone. The illusion that Davis was unbeatable has been shattered, and suddenly, the boxing world is looking at him differently. For the commission to step in and erase a fighter's win is extremely rare. It takes a major controversy for them to admit that an official decision was wrong.
I mean, definitely all day for Tank, but Lamont Roach is the guy, man. He showed up, and Tank gave him a tremendous amount of respect in the fight, and we saw why.
But this time, they had no choice. In their official statement, they admitted that a technical error had prevented them from reviewing the fight's most crucial moment when they needed to. Following the commission's request for the replay video, there was a technical issue preventing them from receiving it in time. Therefore, the referee's in-ring decision was relied upon and the fight continued. The commission didn't stop there. They made it clear that they were taking steps to make sure nothing like this happens again.
Very high boxing IQ. He always says, I hit harder than people think, I hit harder than my record says, and he stunned Tank several times. Tank looked like the guy.
We are committed to preserving the integrity of combative sports and will ensure technical issues do not prevent instant replay reviews in the future. The way people see it, Tank finally got caught. For years, critics had accused him of being protected by the system, of being a fighter who could never lose because boxing's business interests wouldn't allow it. But this time, the system failed him, and his biggest critics. They are celebrating. For years, Crawford had accused Tank of being protected, avoiding the toughest competition while still being marketed as a superstar. Now, with the fight officially overturned, Crawford couldn't hold back. "This dude has been talking like he runs the sport," Crawford tweeted. Well, the sport just told him otherwise. And he didn't stop there. He went straight at Tank's fan base, the same people who had spent years claiming Davis was the face of boxing. Crawford went for the kill.
Maybe the opponent, Lamont Roach, actually got stronger moving up 5 pounds to 135 pounds. He was able to take
All Yellel talking about Tank, the face of boxing. Well, the face just took an LLL. It wasn't just trash talk. Crawford was spitting facts. Tank's record, which had once been untouchable, now had a stain that couldn't be erased. And to Crawford, this was karma. He had been calling out Davis for ducking fights against Devin Haney and Shocker Stevenson, and now here he was taking an official loss against Lamont Roach, someone who wasn't even supposed to be a real threat. To Crawford, this was exactly what he had been saying for years. Tank had always gotten the easy road, picking the right opponents at the right time while still being hyped up like a king. But with the overturned fight, that illusion was collapsing.
without ever really being in any serious trouble. That, I think, was unusual and disconcerting for...
How you gonna avoid the likes of Shocker just to get a loss against Roach? Crawford asked, rubbing salt in the wound. But Crawford wasn't the only one who had something to say. Ryan Garcia wasted no time jumping into the drama. The moment the commission officially overturned the decision, Ryan was already online taking his victory lap. Told Yellel he lost that fight, Ryan posted. The commission did the right thing. Tank got exposed. Garcia and Tank have been hating each other for years, or at least keeping up the beef to fuel their careers. Ever since their fight, where Tank knocked Ryan out, Garcia has been on a mission to prove Davis wasn't as good as people thought.
For not knocking Lamont out, Lamont not being a big name, so they overblow it.
I think so. I feel like people just don't like Tank to a point where
Every time Tank won, Ryan had something to say, calling him protected and overrated. But now, the commission just gave him the ultimate ammo. And he wasn't done. Tank fans have been lying to themselves for years, Ryan continued. Dude ain't that good. He just got saved every time he fought. Now the commission couldn't even protect him anymore. Look at my fight. There had to be something off in his favor too. Then came the knockout blow. Ryan posted a video of Tank taking a knee against Roach, the exact moment that had caused all the controversy in the first place. But it wasn't just the clip that got people talking. It was Ryan's brutal caption. No heart. Quitter energy.
I feel like feeling good that he lost and he didn't, or it was a draw. I feel like Tank was doing a lot of smart things in the beginning. Moving a little bit too much, but
For Tank, this was humiliating. His entire image had been built around being the street fighter, the bully, the knockout king. But now, he was the guy who took a knee, and Ryan was making sure the whole world saw it. Meanwhile, Shocker Stevenson had been watching everything unfold, staying quiet at first, but the second the ruling became official, he spoke up too. Shocker and Tank have been circling each other for months, throwing jabs on social media, teasing a fight that never actually happened. Tank had called Shocker boring, while Shocker called Tank overhyped. But now, I ain't even gotta say much, Shocker posted. I knew what it was. Now let's see if he still wanna talk crazy. Then, he went live on Instagram, shaking his head at the news like he had seen it coming from a mile away. You see how the boxing gods work, he said.
Mayweather, one of the greats, one of the legends, one of the GOATs, said to himself, Sugar Tank Davis. So we know that Tank Davis loves to be painting his nails, wearing stilettos, wearing them purses. How many pay-per-view buys does...
That man was out here acting like he was the boogeyman, calling me boring. But now look, he got whooped, he got dropped, and he got his W taken away. Then came the challenge, the one he had been waiting to throw at Tank for months. Or maybe now he can just fight me and stop running. Because now, Tank didn't have the same leverage anymore. He couldn't act untouchable. He couldn't sit back and pick the easiest fights while pretending he was the biggest star in boxing. If he wanted to prove himself, he had to actually step up. But while the world was tearing him apart, Tank had other things on his mind. For the past few months, the Baltimore native has been stirring up confusion with some of his unpredictable moves. He's been dropping hints about his future that have left fans scratching their heads. And it all started on Christmas Eve. Out of nowhere, Tank posted a message claiming that his highly anticipated rematch with Roach had been cancelled. No explanation, no follow-up, just a cryptic post that sent the boxing world into a frenzy. Fans were quick to speculate that Gervonta Tank Davis might be having another one of his infamous outbursts. His history of unpredictable statements made this situation feel familiar, yet this time, something seemed off.
Junior coming up for 130. How many buys do you think this does, my brother?
I mean, 350.
The timing was unusual, and with no immediate clarification from his team, it appeared as though Davis was once again throwing a wrench into his own plans. Just as the uncertainty threatened to derail the fight, Lamont Roach and his father, Lamont Roach Sr., stepped in to reassure fans that everything was still on track. They made it clear that the highly anticipated matchup was set to go forward as planned on March 1, 2025, at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Roach himself was just as puzzled as everyone else when rumors of a cancellation started swirling. While social media erupted with panic, Roach stayed composed. Addressing the situation during a live session on his YouTube channel, he responded to a fan asking about the speculation. With a calm smile, Roach acknowledged the unpredictability surrounding Davis. Tank is a wild card, he admitted. You never know what he's going to do next. The 29-year-old Washington native explained that he's grown accustomed to Davis's unpredictability over the years and wasn't fazed by the drama.
Shakur, tell us something, bro. Like, what did you think about the decision? Okay.
Instead of letting the confusion distract him, Roach remained focused on his preparation. Having faced his own challenges throughout his career, he isn't about to let outside noise shake him. He understands that Davis operates on his own terms, often keeping people guessing with emotional tweets and cryptic posts. But for Roach, it's all business. He refuses to let any of Davis's antics affect his mindset, knowing that mental strength is just as crucial as physical training in boxing. I'm not letting that stuff affect me, Roach stated, emphasizing his determination to stay locked in for the biggest fight of his career. A victory over Davis would be a game changer for him, impacting his career and legacy. However, Roach isn't getting ahead of himself. His sole focus is executing the game plan with his team and staying sharp in camp. As the fight draws closer, both fighters appear fully committed.
But what do you think about the decision? I thought Lamont won. You thought Lamont won. Got you. I'll talk to you later.
Davis is reportedly in great shape, already close to his fight weight, unlike some competitors who undergo drastic cuts in training camp. Unlike others who may enter camp needing to drop significant weight, Tank maintains his natural lightweight frame, ensuring he's in peak condition leading up to fight night. Notably, Davis's longtime trainer, Calvin Ford, has been absent from the public eye, sparking speculation that the two may have parted ways. Ford has been a pivotal figure in Davis's career.
I know Lamont is a really good fighter. I'm not.
Making his disappearance a topic of discussion among fans and insiders. Meanwhile, Leonard Ellerb, who has worked closely with Davis over the years, recently weighed in on the fighter's future. During a conversation on the Laboratory with Plaza, Ellerb reflected on Tank's recent announcement about retiring after 3 more fights. "I understand where he's coming from," Ellerb said. "When you have kids, it changes everything. It changes your entire life." As fight night approaches, all eyes remain on Davis and Roach, with fans eager to see how this battle unfolds in Brooklyn.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a real good fight.
Leonard Ellerb highlighted how Gervonta Tank Davis sees things differently now compared to 6 or 7 years ago. Addressing Tank's recent retirement talk, Ellerb made it clear that if Davis says he's retiring, people should take him at his word, but that doesn't mean it's permanent. It's never good enough, no matter what you do, and sometimes that can be frustrating, Ellerb explained. He noted that the constant pressure from fans and the demand for more fights can wear a fighter down. There's more to life than just what you do for a living. You respect the fans who pay to see you fight, but at the end of the day, you have a life outside of boxing. They want you to keep going, but they don't always care about what happens to you afterward. Tank's future is still bright.
The mental preparation, right, with Lamont. Fans, they kind of sleeping on Lamont,
but he's also facing a wave of hungry challengers. Fighters like Andy Cruz, Edwin De Los Santos, and Keyshawn Davis are all looking to take his spot, and the pressure is mounting. These aren't easy fights, and Tank knows it. If he continues fighting, he understands that these matchups will demand everything from him. At this point in his career, he may not want to go through the grueling preparation and sacrifices required for such high-stakes battles. Ellerb also spoke about the brutal nature of boxing and how it impacts a fighter's long-term health. "Everyone has different opinions and different goals in life," he said. With Tank's retirement looming, the big question is whether it will truly be final. Ellerb hinted that a return isn't out of the question, suggesting that if the right offer comes along in 6 to 12 months, a comeback wouldn't be shocking.
Yeah, people don't know him, but Lamont is a good fighter. Like he ain't no slouch. Like I fought him in the amateurs. Like
given Davis's star power and his ability to draw massive paydays, a big money fight could be enough to lure him back, especially if the opponent is a major name who guarantees headlines. Meanwhile, Lamont Roach, a reigning champion at 130 pounds, is making the jump up in weight to challenge Davis. Despite being seen as the underdog, Roach brings a unique skill set and confidence that could make things interesting. Davis, who last fought in June 2024 when he scored an 8th-round knockout against Frank Martin, knows he can't afford to take Roach lightly. He's promised to be in top condition for every fight leading up to his retirement. "I'm making sure I do what I'm supposed to so I can be the best I can be," Davis stated. Whether he's facing Roach, Shocker Stevenson, Devin Haney, or another top name, Tank seems determined to leave the sport on his own terms. Fans will be watching closely to see if he can close out his career with a string of unforgettable performances, or if this retirement talk is just another chapter in his unpredictable journey. Thanks for tuning in. What do you think? Will Tank Davis stick to his retirement plans, or is there another big fight waiting for him down the line? And can Lamont Roach pull off the upset? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on the biggest fights in boxing. We've got more analysis, fight predictions, and exclusive content coming your way, so stay locked in. Until next time, keep it locked right here, and we'll catch you in the next one.